Welcome back. Congress MP Shashi Tharoor has once again praised Prime Minister Modi. This time the MP praised the Prime Minister-led Narendra Modi-led BJP government for its Vaccine Maitri initiative that facilitated the distribution of COVID-19 vaccines to several countries. He's praised India's leverage after becoming the world's vaccine manufacturing hub. He said that this significantly enhanced India's soft power on the global stage. BJP has welcomed Shashi Tharoor's praise. They say other leaders should also come forward to laud the Prime Minister's diplomatic governance, which has made India better globally. And earlier, Congress MP Shashi Tharoor had praised the Prime Minister for his diplomacy.
Are you glad that India took the position it did? I mean, it carried on buying Russian oil and gas, for example.
Yes, I'm still wiping the egg off my face because I was the one person in the parliamentary debate who actually criticized the Indian position at the time, back in February 22, on the well-worn grounds that Espen will understand, because he and I talked about all this in my UN days, that there was a violation of the UN Charter, that there had been a violation of the principle of the inviolability of borders, of the sovereignty of a member state, namely Ukraine, and we had always stood for the inadmissibility of the use of force to settle international disputes. And all of those principles, I said, had been violated by one party, and we should have condemned it. Well, a couple of years later, 3 years later, it does look like I'm the one with egg on my face, because clearly the policy has meant that India has actually a prime minister who can hug both the president of Ukraine and the president of Moscow 2 weeks apart and be accepted in both places. And therefore, India is in a position where it can make a difference. PM has taken a consistent position that the solution to this conflict has to come through diplomacy. In fact, you may remember his famous statement in Samarkand in front of President Putin, where he said this is not an era of war, and that solutions have to be found peacefully. We do seem to be at the beginning of a peace process of some sort. First of all, the parties have to be involved. The Ukrainians will have to have a seat at the table. The European Union and the European countries in the neighborhood, which have been very actively involved in the conflict, they will demand and legitimately expect a seat at the table.
All right, a look now at how political leaders are responding to the latest praise from Shashi Tharoor.
What Shashi Tharoor ji is saying is basically an acknowledgement of the good work done by the government. And that's how it should be. If India does well, it's a matter of pride for every Indian. There can't be partisan politics on it. So when he's spoken on the vaccine diplomacy, it's a statement of fact. And this is what would have been expected from the entire Congress party, not just one member from within the party.
Whatever Modi ji has done during this period, during the COVID period, and the vaccines being sent to different countries, these are steps, humanitarian steps, which ultimately is the truth, that we in India are a humanitarian-based country. Our governance, our concepts, our ideology is based on a global situation where there is a problem, we are there. So that is the realization that is catching up in the open. And it's a good sign, because it has been a tradition that on external affairs, on foreign affairs, there's always been a consensus. It is only recently that the current dispensation of the Congress decides to fight on every issue on foreign policy and has this tendency of sending out its leaders to demean our democracy, to demean our foreign policy. And that is also the ideology followed by the India Alliance. So this kind of a situation, when people in the opposition start realizing it, that's good for the country.
You know, it is the inner democracy in our party. I do not know what is the tweet of Shashiji, but as far as COVID period is concerned, it was the worst period in the history of our country. According to WHO, more than 50 lakh people were dead during that period. Dead bodies were floating in Ganga and Yamuna. No oxygen was available at all. Modi Sahab has given a call, Thali Bajao. But all of a sudden, announcement came lockout in the whole of country. Thousands and thousands people were killed during that time. So it was very, very difficult time, and government of India has taken no precaution. And basically, it is Modi Sahab who is responsible, because he brought President America, Donald Trump, to Ahmedabad, as I remember, and more than 1 lakh people were gathered, and only from that point, this COVID was spreaded all over the country.
Mosmi is getting in more details on that story. Mosmi, just get us an inside track of what really is brewing. The speculation that he would be leaving the Congress party, joining the BJP. But there's been speculation forever, isn't it? Given that many similar statements have been made over the course of the last few months or so. It's not just recently.
That is true, Sneha. When repeatedly Shashi Tharoor has made comments which are a departure from the party line, it has stirred the hornet's nest, and clearly this time round also, coming in the backdrop of the fact that there have been several allegations made by opposition parties over the health issues related to the COVID vaccine. Rahul Gandhi many times has questioned about the veracity of the vaccination drive. So completely Shashi Tharoor has thrown the Congress out of gear as far as the party line is concerned, and one will have to wait and watch whether there is any notice, show cause notice that is sent to Shashi Tharoor. But clearly that's not been the only case in point, as we just heard how during his opinion on the Russia-Ukraine war also stirred a controversy, and thereafter he in fact went on to praise the left government recently in an article where he said that the economic policy of the left government resulted in an increase in employment. So in fact Shashi Tharoor is creating more trouble for the Congress, not only in Kerala but policy-wise at the centre as well. And perhaps the party leadership will have to decide whether they want to take cognizance of it or not.
All right, I'm going to thank you for the moment, Mosmi, getting us up to speed with that. Yes, leading to discomfort within the party, but no action yet, no show cause notice yet from the Congress party to their MP from Thiruvananthapuram.